Yo! Welcome back to the Fantasy Fixers Podcast. I'm your host, Winston Wolf. And if this is your first time being a part of this channel, hit the like, hit the subscribe, and ring that notification bell. Now, this is part 2 of how to kill your draft. So, if you're here on part 2 for the first time, you need to go back and watch part 1. This is quick fantasy. I know you're like, what kind of video is this where he talks about fantasy for 10 minutes? I know you got stuff to do. I know you need to cut your toe knuckle hair, so I'm trying to get you in and out. Let's go ahead and get it started. As you can see from the background, I'm doing a mock draft out of the 9 spot. I had one of my partners ask me how would he do it, and after doing it a plethora of times, I was like, okay, you have to employ the running back strategy, and this is something I never do. I can't remember the last time I ever did running back, if ever. But I think to avoid the running back dead zone with Breece Hall, Eli Mitchell, Cam Akers, J.K. Dobbins, Travis Etienne, I want to avoid all those guys, even though I do like Travis Etienne because I don't think James Robinson is healthy. He came off an Achilles late in the season, so you just don't bounce back like that. And we have zero evidence to say that a running back will have the same burst and have the same agility after said injury. So check out that team as you listen to it. Let's do it. Tip number 11. Running backs might be the hardest position to pick. The things you want to pay attention to is how good is the offense, how much volume would the running back get, and how good is their offensive line. Now, this doesn't go for your first/second round running backs. You'll just pick them and cross your fingers. This goes for the Eli Mitchells, Cam Akers, J.K. Dobbins, Travis Etienne's of the world. Pay attention to that. Tip number 12, don't worry about bye weeks. You'll have enough to worry about during your draft so that isn't one thing you need to worry about. When they come, they'll come. Tip number 13, react to the preseason, but don't overreact to the preseason. Just last year, I avoided this guy named Ja'Marr Chase because of the preseason. I overreacted. He couldn't catch a cold butt naked in Alaska. Chase couldn't catch a tiger by the toe if he had 30 Frosted Flakes commercials. He had just taken a year off of football, so I thought he had the yips. The yips are when you have an unexplained loss of ability as a professional. Mike Vanderjagt, Nick Anderson, Markelle Fultz, all caught the yips. A couple of my old heads know Vanderjagt and Nick Anderson. But it was so much fuss about Chase dropping the ball, then he came out publicly and said, the ball seems to be much bigger in college. This scared the daylight out of me, so I went with a much safer pick. Tyler Boyd. Boy, was I wrong. The season started and Ja'Marr Chase caught everything. I mean, measles, smallpox, and attitude. If it came his way, he was grabbing it and doing a dance in the end zone afterward. Pay attention and react to the stuff like David Montgomery and Antonio Gibson playing on special teams. Or pay attention to how much they're playing with the starters in preseason. If your starting running back is a punt returner, in this day and age, he's expendable on that team. And as a fantasy owner, you should run the other way quicker than Michael Jackson in the Pepsi commercial. Tip number 14. Don't draft a guy based on Hard Knocks. It's a great show, and it gets you pumped up to draft these players and forgetting that they are still the Lions. So pump your brakes. I honestly don't even watch Hard Knocks because it always skews my perception of a player, and he just creeps up higher and higher on my draft board, and I end up reaching for him. So watch Hard Knocks with the same mindset as you would watch the House of Dragons. None of you signed up for the City Watch after episode 1. So keep that same energy for Hard Knocks. Tip number 15. Don't put all your eggs Don't put all your eggs in one basket. I know it's cliche, but it's true. Last season, I was facing my arch nemesis. I call him Magneto. He drafted Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, and Mahomes. And I stopped drafting after round 3 because I was like, this league is done. I have to face these 3 guys. He's already won. He barely made the playoffs and got bounced out of the first round. He just could never get all the 3 players to have big games and be on the same accord. Now, if all 3 players hit every week, then you're golden. But if you're not, you're going to end up chatting, typing in all caps, asking, does the fourth place person get paid? Tip number 16, wait on defenses and kickers. Don't be the guy that picks the Rams in the 10th round. Good defenses are hit or miss, and most time it doesn't carry over from year to year. So target defenses who have easy matchups and stream the position as you get them late. Tip number 17, most experts will tell you don't pick two QBs. I'm going to tell you pick up a second QB if you think he's going to go gangbusters. But this has to be super late. For instance, I think Tua and Trey Lance, especially Trey Lance, because of Kyle Shanahan. I have a man crush on him. But I think these two could be great sleepers, and I would rather them ride on my bench as opposed to them hurting me by facing them later on. And if they become trade bait, so be it. Tip number 18, don't draft to trade. What I mean by that is don't draft players thinking they're going to possess this massive trade capital. I've seen guys pick up two QBs extremely early thinking they'll be able to trade them, and now you have a QB on your bench scoring 30, but Sebastian Janikowski is your wide receiver one for being stupid. Tip number 19, research. You can't do enough of it. The best site to find out all the player news is NBC Sports Edge, which was once named rotoworld.com. You need to be on this site daily because they will keep up with injuries, stats, anything that fantasy requires. You should sneak a peek at this site at least once a day. Tip number 20, I'm here to help. You draft the team, I fix the team in order to get the green. I'm the fantasy football therapist. The end goal is to get paid. So you can follow me at the Fantasy Fixers Facebook page and comment below if you have a Discord, because I think that's the best way for me to keep up with all the questions below. This concludes the part 2 of how to kill your draft. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and hit me up in the comments section, and I'll answer the questions there. And I'm out.